All right, ladies and bring the microphone a little bit closer. Gentlemen, welcome to our weekend live stream. Normally I do these on Saturdays, hence the name Saturday Weekly. But I'm not quite ready for bed, and I kind of want to do a lot of studying tomorrow, so I'm gonna do it tonight. I got the energy, I got the time. Congratulations, David, on your interview going well. I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. Hopefully it all works out for you. Ricky, the homie. How is everything going with you, Ricky? I know we haven't talked a little bit. We got the OG, the original gringo, as I like to call him. Jordan is here. Welcome, friend. And then we have Foster ID. I am well. How are you, sir? So just got back a little while ago from we call it. Just got back from the movies, and you ain't big at all. What does that mean? Like I haven't been lifting? I haven't been lifting. That's the truth. We're doing it live. It's good to switch it up though. On occasion, and I'm wrapping up my first course. It's been fun. It's a tiny little course, but it's part one of about probably a 10-part course, but I'm releasing them for about $5 a piece over time. And it's been fun making it. I'm going to continue to learn as I get better. I have a cool project that I'm going to set up in project 2. It's a lot more complicated than project 1, but that was kind of the idea. So Earl Dixon says, I'm looking into getting into code. I've started watching your videos and enjoying free code camp. Got any pointers? Code every day and start building projects as soon as you feel comfortable. Actually, probably before you feel comfortable is probably the real answer. Because a lot of times you'll never feel comfortable, and if you wait, you'll always be waiting. But maybe dive into it a little bit sooner than maybe you are ready. This is a webcam that I'm using for streaming. I use the same camera for everything, for the webcam, the videos. Oh, I inspired you to tackle JavaScript. Oh, thank you, sir, and best of luck. I'm glad it's going to be a journey as you continue to tackle it. Casey, what's going on, man? Another OG. Am I gonna get naked or what? Hey, I'll show you what. I'll show you a little something. So a lot of you guys may not know I drive a 3-cylinder car. It's a beast of a car. I got the glasses. I got the braces. But as if I wasn't a lady killer enough, I now have the rubber band. Actually, not bands, rubber band. But yeah, so killing it. So it has a little bit about what I've been up to. I've been kind of out of it for about 2-3 weeks. A little bit of with sickness, but I'm feeling better. I'm remotivated. I'm working on stuff. I'm wrapping up this first course, and I've been loving my job. I've been learning so much about Angular, and that's going to be my focus moving forward. I'm working through a 26-hour Angular course, and I've had a little bit of creator's block. I don't know what it is, but I've had trouble coming up with video ideas. But yeah, so I've been putting out videos, but this next week might be the first week without 3 videos, or the following week that I put out. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure something will come up. Now that the weekend's here, I have plenty of time to think. Let's see here. Learning Ruby on Rails, enjoying model view controller with JavaScript like mean and MERN. seem daunting to configure? Any tips on where to learn? There's a lot of great 1-hour tutorials on Node and Express. That's really that, and MongoDB. I have some basic tutorials building projects in about five projects, building like URL shorteners and how file uploaders and things like that. And that uses MongoDB, it uses Node, it uses Express, and it uses Angular JS. And it's a pretty basic project. And in an hour, we touch on a lot of things like routing and setting up your Express package or Express application. And so that might be something to look at. But I would really just watch 1-hour tutorials on YouTube on each one of those letters and go from there. What does the rubber band do? Essentially, what happens here is my teeth, because of the braces, have shifted my jaw. So the rubber band basically pulls my jaw back into place a little bit more. Oh, yeah, Jordan. So I finally did that wireframe video for you. If you like the wireframes, they're part of all my courses I'll be working on. Did you start any of the exercises yet? What exercises? Oh, you're talking about actually exercising? I did work out once, 1.5 times last week. But yeah, on the weekends, we go to the gym now. I've started learning since June. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Probably imposter syndrome even before I have a job. You can definitely have imposter syndrome before you have a job. I barely started back end. Do you have any advice? Just code every day, build projects, do all the basic aspects of trying to get a job. Good LinkedIn, good GitHub portfolio page, good resume, prepare, all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely something to think about and handle all that. Do I believe Linux is the future? No, but I mean, I think there's a place for Linux. A video on if you start web dev in 2018, what language, frameworks, what paths you'll take. That's not a bad idea. I feel like that video's been done, but I can always add my 2 cents to it. It's not a bad video to make. So one thing I've spent a lot of time thinking about is my future and how I want to progress in my career. And I think I might go get a degree in management to move into upper management as a developer later on in life. This is something I've been thinking about because I don't know that I would want to go back for a CS degree, but I would go back to school for if I could get into an upper management role down the road. And so I've been thinking about that, which is interesting because it's the first time I've ever really thought about. I mean, I think about going back to school all the time, but it's the first time I've ever thought about going back not to finish a CS degree, but to get a different degree. So. I've learned the basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and basic of BootStrap. What should I learn next? Please give me a path. You should probably pick up a front-end framework, either React or Angular, and you should definitely build some projects in what you've worked with so far if you haven't. You thought of making a Udemy course? Yeah, I actually am wrapping up my first one right now, and go from there. So senior dev, lead dev, architect dev is the goal. Yeah. So I'm talking about stuff like management information systems. So roles that are going to be a little bit more dev heavy, but also to be a tech lead I mean, I'll be a senior dev in a year or two. So I'll be a senior dev in a year or two. But I'm talking about going past that. Tech lead, lead dev, architect. That's still most of the time you're in a management position for that stuff, and you can kind of go from there. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking in the thought process. But yeah, so the Udemy course that I've been working on it's about 5 hours of content. It's not super big, but it's only $5 or $7, and I haven't released it yet. I have a couple more things that I want to add to it. But by the end of this weekend, it'll definitely be done. I'll have one of my videos for next week will be an announcement video talking about it, how I structure my courses, and what I'm going to be doing with it and moving forward. So, definitive guide to CSS edition 4. Do you recommend? I haven't reviewed CSS 4 or the definitive guide. But I do recommend always educating yourself. So, is it normal if I never get a call back from jobs that I apply to? Yeah, you have to apply to a lot of jobs to get that first one. React or Angular? Now that Angular released a new version, Angular's fine. That's what I work with, and the new version wasn't any groundbreaking changes. It was basically making the Angular CLI, which basically was a quick build and some tools, faster. And it was also some minor updates to their HTTP package. Let's see here. Say hi, Tito. I am new, want to learn programming. Where can I start? If you're interested in web development, freecodecamp.org is probably a great place to start. What are your thoughts on functional programming? I think it's interesting. I think that we've kind of been doing functional programming for a while in React. And now you have other languages like Scala and trying to define clear principles for functional programming. Obviously, when you're dealing with like TypeScript and classes and object-oriented programming, it's one of those things where it's less functional, but it's more. How can I put this? I mean, it's object-oriented at the end of the day. It just feels a lot better than object-oriented Java. So I don't necessarily like. I did object-oriented Java. You know what it was, man? I understand programming much better, and it's not that it's that hard understanding object-oriented programming. It was just that my teachers were so bad, like so bad, and never. I remember to this day people asking questions and them not giving answers and saying, "Don't worry, you'll learn about that later," and never learning about it. Never, because they didn't want to answer it because the concepts are too hard to explain. But they were so bad. Oh man, there's one or two that I liked, but I liked them as individuals. But as teachers, they were bad teachers. That doesn't mean they were bad developers, but they were bad teachers. It seems that business analysts and project managers are expected to learn programming now. Do you think the reverse is true with hardcore coders? So I would actually disagree with you, Alicia H., that it's expected of BAs and PMs to learn programming. Does it help? Will it help you land a role? Absolutely. Is it going to make you better in your job? Absolutely. Do a lot of project managers and business analysts are ex-coders? Sometimes, yes, because they either development wasn't for them or they burnt out. It happens. But I wouldn't say that the industry standard is. I just say you have a much stronger job path if you do. I know front-end development basics. Where to start learning back-end? Start building a back-end for your front-end projects. So if teachers were good, they wouldn't have been teachers. That's funny you say that. There are some good teachers, but I would say that as somebody who wants to be a teacher eventually, I don't. It's hard because it is true. Like I said in my interview for my current job that I believe that 9 out of 10 teachers should be fired, and the people I were interviewed were kind of shocked that I believe that, and we kind of talked about that for 5 minutes. But I truly do believe that if your boy was like not principal, but the dean. If your boy was dean of the computer science college division, he'd be cleaning motherfucking house, baby. 9 out of 10 people would be gone. I don't care. I'm gonna ask him to explain to me a for loop and an if statement, and if they don't do what I consider adequate job on an if statement and a for loop, gone, baby. If you can't explain the basics, you're gone. I don't want the technical base. I don't want the technicalities. I want you to explain to somebody who's never coded before how to get started. Anyhow, you get these technology stack questions a lot. You create a social media platform responding to your ideas or means to rest where other people can chime in on what's working for them. I mean, I have the Facebook group. That's what Code Tech and Caffeine is for. You know, we have 4,200 or 4,300 members over there, people commenting and sharing their experiences and stuff. So, I mean, there is that. I'm 28 years old. I really want to start and make a career switch. Do you think it's possible to land a job for me at some point? I have no prior coding experience. Should I go to Treehouse or Free Code Camp? They're not really equivalent stuff, man. You should probably do both. Do your own, do blog posts, do courses on Udemy, do everything in between. But you should definitely just be coding daily. So how to get started with cryptocurrencies? You can buy on exchanges like GDAX or Coinbase. Speaking of which, what's Coinbase doing right now? I'm just curious what Bitcoin's at. Bitcoin dropped a little bit and then it's skyrocketed again. Depending on Colt Steele's bootcamp and advanced bootcamp courses, I think they're probably very, very, very good. I haven't really taken them or viewed them, but I know a lot of people love them quite a bit. How do you stay focused? I just set priorities of what I want out of life. I've not done that, and I've been very unhappy. So I don't know, man. So to answer this seriously is I got rid of all the distractions I could. I got rid of all my gaming systems. I uninstalled all the games on my PC, and I kind of put myself into a situation where it was sink or swim, and I understood that. I created a 1-year game plan to drop out of college, and when I did, there's no turning back when I pulled the trigger on that, and here we are. When you say code daily, what do you mean by that? I'm a beginner, so what do I code? I always try to follow some tutorials on YouTube and code while I watch the video. Yeah, I mean, that's one way of doing it. You could also be doing interactive tutorials. But when I say code daily, I truly do mean write code every single day until you have a job. And not like, oh, code 8 hours one day and then nothing. It's better for you to code 2 hours every single day than 8 hours in a single day, or 10 hours in a single day, 14 hours in a single day. You get what I'm saying? 3 5-hour day. Code 2 to 3 hours a day every single day. Build projects, do Udemy courses, do YouTube tutorials, do free code camp, whatever you want to do. But make sure you're always having fun. You know, you're going to get frustrated, but when you get stuck, it's okay to ask for help. but also make sure you're always having fun so you can jump between different stuff. Maybe you're solving algorithms like code fights and you get stuck on one and you're like, I can't do this anymore. So you go and build a project for free code camp, or you can't really fathom how to finish this project. So you go and you continue your Udemy course. Always have something to work on. Code every single day. Have you looked at the Western Government University? That's what I'm thinking about, the software. They have an information technology business degree, master's degree. All the schools I look at are cheap as shit. I don't really care where I get my degree from. It's all about just getting that piece of paper so I can go and get a master's so that I can get some architect role down the road. You took a break from free code camp, got your first freelance job? Nice, man. Did I learn architecture along with coding? You pick up architecture as you code. It's a very interesting process because you find yourself architecting your own projects, and slowly you're architecting larger projects. You're working on other things. So it's one of those things where you do pick it up over time, and you get better and better the more you code. No, I don't have any interest in mod menus. My next big interest after I sort of dive deeper into JavaScript and into Angular is blockchain. Blockchain is what I want to learn next. April, have any luck finding a job yet? No. She does start school on Monday. She has a couple certificate programs that she's working on for project management. So, any advice for getting your first gig on Upwork or other freelance site? You better charge damn near nothing, and you better have portfolio work and work experience to back it up. If you don't have any work experience, just have the best portfolio you can and a portfolio site. So we'll say Betsy says the biggest problem for me when I watch YouTube, I think, yeah, okay, I understand, but then I have to apply those things on my own. I absolutely have no clue how to. This is a common problem. This is actually how one of the things I'm trying to integrate into my courses. So my course that I'm building, at the end of the course, I then give you features with wireframes that you can add on to this project that we just built, because so many people get so caught up on how, like, they watch the tutorial and they're building it. It makes sense, right? I'm typing the code, I'm explaining it, you're going along, it makes sense. You're like, in that moment, you completely understand because someone just walked you through it. Now I'm giving you another feature with this code base you already have. Now augment it. Now add additional features. And part of that is try to help you overcome that, I guess, without having to have you start a brand new project, which can be a little bit overwhelming. Can you explain the basic point of a getter and setter? Yeah. So a getter and a setter really refers to object-oriented programming. And so object-oriented programming, let's just say give TypeScript and Angular, for example, because that's what is going to be the most relevant, right? So let me actually pop this out. So you have these, think of a variable, right? And say you want to get the variable, that would be your getter. And so a getter's point is I want to get this property. If I have a variable called popsicle stick and it has, or pops, that's a bad example. I have a variable called X, and X stores a number of 5. If I want to get 5, I call the variable. I go and get that value. Now, if I want to then change the 5, I want to set the value of X to 6. That's your setter. So you're getting the value, set, you're setting the value. And that really, the only real difference to that is if you just think of the properties as variables, you're just resetting the value and you're getting the value as you would with the variable, except in this instance, you're dealing with object-oriented programming. Now, that's getters and setters at the end of the day. So, one other thing that you asked was a constructor. What's a constructor? A constructor, in object-oriented programming, you're basically recreating things. You're recreating objects that have certain properties, that have certain variables. if you want to think of it that way. And the constructor's main job is to say, hey, when I create this new object, this is what I need to construct. It's going to be, we'll give a very basic example. I have an object of dog. If I was to create a new dog, what would be some of the properties it would have? It would have probably 4 legs. We're going to assume that no legs were missing on this dog. It probably had a tail. It probably had a nose and maybe a name. And when we construct that, it would have a legs property, and it would store how many legs it had 4. And it would have a tail property, and it would store how long it is, or 1. And so a constructor basically will just construct a basic, you're constructing that object and properties it's supposed to have on initialization, right? What do you mean deeper in JavaScript? Oh, I just mean to have a better understanding of JavaScript and become a better JavaScript developer. I've said this a couple times, but I believe that 10%, 90% of the time you use 10% of the language, and I just want to get a better understanding of JavaScript. What was the bug in your Angular 4 front to back project? I broke some database settings in the Firebase. That was my bug. How's the YouTuber subscriber alert light bulb going? I haven't had a chance to start on it. I've been working on my course. I want to, though. I really do. I think it'd be fun. How good does one need to be with Vanilla.js before moving on to React Node or something? With Vanilla.js, I mean, really you just have to... Vanilla.js really refers to DOM manipulation on top of knowing JavaScript, right? That's usually what that vanilla part is. And honestly, you don't need to know very much because React, maybe a little bit more in React, but if you're talking about Angular, all the DOM stuff is handled in Angular. So I think you probably, as long as you understand the core base of JavaScript, it's okay to move on to other frameworks. What do you think about platforms like Office 365, SharePoint, Sitecore? Should I forget about the platform and learn how to code first? What do you mean forget? Like you want to build things for Office 365? I don't think I fully understand what you're asking. Can you think of any social places to find meetups other than Facebook? Meetups.com. That's where I would get a lot of my stuff. I'm new, so can you please explain what a portfolio site is? So a portfolio site is kind of like your online resume for a no, that's bad way. It's a way of showing what you've built. It's a way of showing websites that you've built. It's a way of showing projects that you've built to people who are interested in hiring you. It's your portfolio, right? It's a website that you build. DylanCisrael.com, right? And that's not a real website, by the way. You basically have links to your projects, images, showcasing your best work. You enjoy the comical outtakes? Thank you, man. I'm trying to keep it fresh, keep it fun. Hooked on configuration, can't get past it to programming. Hey, well, maybe DevOps is for you down the road. Happy Friday to everybody, by the way. Can I sing you happy birthday? No. Have I ever played StarCraft? Yeah, man. You think I'm just a poser? Just trying to act cool? Can you donate me $100? How about that? I'll sing you happy birthday. Not that it's worth $100. How long does someone need with no coding experience to land a job as a web developer? 1 to 3 years. It honestly varies by how quick you pick it up, how confident you are, how much you studied in that time. The amount of time I study in 1 year is probably triple what the average person studies in 1 year, I would say. You know, when I was trying to be a developer, I was working a 40-hour job, and I was probably putting in 40 hours of studying a week, and maybe a little bit more. It just really depends. If you want one answer, a year, maybe, yeah, a year. If Jesus was a coder, what language would he use? JS. Jesus script. Should I go ahead and complete the form of the website that you mentioned a while back, where you take some quiz and they find you a job depending on your level? Why not? I think you're talking about TripleByte. There's no harm to it. It's completely free. I can tell you right now, I wasn't good enough for their standards. So it's going to be hard, but it's not impossible. What do you think of the transition from AngularJS to Angular 5? Happy Friday. Is your B-Day? If someone's birthday, someone in chat's birthday. It's not my B-Day. My B-Day was 2 weeks ago. So AngularJS to Angular 5. It's a complete rework. There are basic things that carry over. Knowing AngularJS will help you with Angular 5, but it's definitely not required. But it's a rough transition. But if you build a couple projects and courses and now there's so many more materials out for Angular, I think you'll be all right. Yeah, man, I used to play StarCraft all the time. Should we limit how often we use BootStrap in our projects? This is something I've struggled with. And the answer is I don't really know. I use BootStrap almost every day at my work. I'm in my current course that I build, I use a little bit of BootStrap, but in future courses, I'm going to move on to Angular Material. I'm going to move on to someone told me UI kit, so on and so forth. So the answer is I really don't know. If I could be any World of Warcraft class, what would you be? Probably the Warlock. Warlock was always pretty dope. You could still have minions, and then you could teleport around. And Warlock or Mage, one of the others, just the magic classes. I kind of want to play WoW again, man. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what it would turn into. God, it would be. You guys want to see any more coding videos? Promise you that much. Just degenerate Dylan playing World of Warcraft. How often do I talk with Matt of Engineering Truth? I haven't talked with him too much in the last week or two, but usually we talk, 3, 4, 5 times a week. But this week's a little bit different. We've just been kind of doing our own thing lately. How vital is jQuery in your projects? I haven't touched jQuery in pretty much a year. jQuery, I only really used when I was studying development. I've never really used it in a software environment, minus maybe 2 or 3 lines of code here or there. What's your absolute favorite thing about coding? I like that every day I'm doing something different. I like that I enjoy it's a job that I enjoy so a very practical reason. I like that coding has given me a lot of opportunity. But the main thing in the working world, I just enjoy it because I can kind of play around with it and I can play around with it and continue to build stuff on my own. That's really it at the end of the day, is I like to build stuff, and that requires you to think differently every day, and that's the fun part in my eyes. My friends are trying to pull me back into World of Warcraft. I'm like, nah, dog, I'm clean. What's the biggest challenge you have faced in coding? Recently or all time? I don't know. Forcing myself to work in PHP, maybe. Favorite childhood memory? Damn, we're getting deep. So every Christmas I watch Home Alone 2. And it's something I started in my childhood. And it's something I do to this day. Sometimes I watch Home Alone 1 also. But I would say that's probably one of my more favorite memories. Is jQuery really dead or dying? It has been in the roles that I've been interviewed for or applied to. So I would say that in a web design, there's probably more jQuery than anything else. And web development is just definitely Streamlabs. Sweet. Yeah, sorry, James. I'm going through the things here. But I'll check right now. Do you think Java will be replaced by Kotlin? I honestly don't know. I follow so little of Java. I want nothing to do with that language. That was what my coursework was in, and it's probably not that bad. It was just a bad point in my life. So. Hey, James, I'm sorry, man. It says here that you donated $4. Thank you so much, but I can't seem to see the question. If you wouldn't mind saying it in chat, I'd be happy to answer it to the best of my ability. jQuery is not dead, but many people are embarrassed to say they're using it because of bullying. I mean, I'm not trying to bully anybody. I just can tell you my personal experience. I've not interviewed for roles that use jQuery. Could I do roles that use jQuery? Yeah, of course I could. But I would say that it probably leans more towards web design jobs than web development jobs. Any plans on making a video about how you go back and learn programming, knowing what you know now, what's important and what was ultimately irrelevant? That is an excellent video. Let me go ahead and copy this, and I will make that. It is now a plan. I appreciate the ideas because I've been running out, so thank you. Have I looked into Cult Steel's courses on Udemy? I haven't detailed looked into it. I believe Program with Eric has guides on both of them, though, reviewing it. Angel Tough to follow says, just want to say I enjoy your channel a lot. Very informative, much love. Thank you. Instead of drunk developer that I never saw anything of, I never did a drunk developer series. What do you, unless you're talking about something else, what do you think of small group 2 or 3 on a Google stream or whatever you call it? It could be like dev news. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem doing that. It's just my main thing is it's going to be hard. I don't like, so what part of why I like YouTube is like, it's my own thing. I don't have to hold myself accountable to anybody else's schedule, and it keeps it fun. It keeps it fresh. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to do partnerships on stuff like that. Should I get an internship after I graduate with a CS degree? I would say you should get an internship before you graduate with a CS degree and get a job when you graduate with a CS degree. Will Flash ever make a comeback? No. Google has disabled it in its browsers by default, and it's done, baby. And good riddance. What are your thoughts on learning technology software for Internet of Things as hardware I'm working with? Honestly, I think is any direction you go in, James, as long as you work hard and you understand the field and you stay up to date on the field in technology or software, you'll do just fine. What do you think of Linux? I think it's a great thing to have on your resume. I don't think it's the end all be all. But it is a skill to be familiar with Linux, especially if you're going to hardware and want to go there. Dahan J Sood, how you doing, man? Thank you for your lessons. How do I become excellent at coding? Code every day and do video courses and don't waste your time on books. A lot of my motivation to learn web development came from watching other YouTubers have coding jobs and thinking that they are very dumb. And if they can get a job, I sure as fuck can too. I hope that I motivated you in a different way. I don't want you to be like, look, man, if this idiot Dylan can do it, I for sure can do it. I'm trying to motivate maybe in a slightly different way. Worst childhood memory. I got stung in the balls by a wasp as a child on Christmas. It was either Christmas or Thanksgiving, and it was at the family members, 50 are there, and I was at my aunt's house, and I had to have my legs up on like a pillow on the bed with a bag of ice on the balls while everyone went downstairs was laughing. If I make a portfolio, what should the main things be? Projects, experience, things that stand out. Is Los Angeles a hellhole? It is for me. High rent, high taxation, crackheads on every street, and traffic like you wouldn't believe. Why was the wasp near your testicles? A window was open, and I was standing up and peeing, as we all do as men, right? And a wasp flew in, and I saw it, and then it just whoop, landed, and then boop. Yeah. So that's what happened. And then I think I must have been like 8 or 9, and I remember they just blowing up, and I had my mom's a nurse, So she's like, all right, let me see it. And it was the most uncomfortable thing ever. And she was laughing the whole time. She's I'm in pain. And they're like triple the size that they normally are. Tomato red. And she's laughing her ass off. It was like slow motion. But yeah, so that happened. And do you use Stack Overflow, or are you way past that? I mean, I don't post on Stack Overflow, but I definitely read about it. Did I tell Matt this? Yeah, Matt knows about it. I've known Matt for 20 years. It's for sure come up in conversation. That's not an exaggeration. Literally 20 years. I'm 30, and I've known Matt since I was 10, maybe 9. Can I still have kids? I hope not. So far, I'm batting 100. Thought I was 24. It's the braces. That poor wasp was thirsty. At what age should I stop playing too many video games? Probably 26, maybe 27. 26, maybe 3 to 4 years ago. I never played 10-6 or Tribes. What does age have to do with marriage? Do you own a console? Yeah, I have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I have a NES Classic, and a Super Nintendo Classic. I don't really play it too much. I did just buy a new game. I've only put about an hour into it. It was Nier Automata. My Steve will get corrupted. There's no scar. No. I don't even know I've told you guys that, man. What crypto coins am I into? Just Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. April's doing good. She's been studying. She's filled out jobs. She has the project manager search she's starting on Monday. This is a software channel. This might be the only video that should actually get demonetized, right? Age of Empires was legit, man. I think did I see something that they're bringing Age of Empires back? I think I saw I vaguely remember seeing a trailer that they're making Age of Empires 4. I'm worth a few mil right now. Yeah, I wish, dude. I absolutely wish. Any comment on Ruby on Rails in 2017? I think you should probably learn JavaScript instead. There's more jobs. I know that there's gonna be a new superhero origin story about Wasp Boy, and it's gonna be like his father as a child on Thanksgiving got stung in the balls by a wasp. It forever altered his sperm, and now his children all can fly. um, I'm not any good at StarCraft. No, I pretty much played Protoss because they're the easiest in my eyes, anyhow. Does Node.js pwn Ruby? Yeah, I would say so. How will VR development is going to affect web development? Will there be overlap besides videos and games? That's an interesting thing. I don't think it's going to affect it too much. But it could be somewhere where we replace monitors with headsets, but I think we're so far off from that. It sucks so much to wear those headsets for more than 30 minutes at a time. What do you think about Rust? I actually coded some programming or some algorithms in Rust way back in the day for a job, and it was interesting. I don't think there's too many jobs in it, so I wouldn't necessarily learn it for that. Would you say you're sinking into your groove at work? Are you feeling comfortable? I most definitely am feeling comfortable. I love the people I work with and the environment. And any things that have transpired from the date of hire? Surprisingly transpired. I feel like I have to go and be more assertive, I would say, with certain team members of mine instead of just sorting playing back. That was surprising. I don't want to dive too much into it because it may come off negative. I don't want that. But on a yeah, I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that. Would you become a Navy SEAL? I've always wanted to join the Army. It's something that I wish I did when I was 18 and didn't waste all my time in college. So is coding so important to our economy that most jobs will survive an economic collapse? Is it coding specifically important? I think coding is one of the best skills you can have for the job market. And would it survive an economic collapse? Probably, because those jobs are still going to be in high demand. At which point can I convince myself I'm ready to apply for junior developer jobs? Well, I would say probably around the time you can build your own projects. I think we can all agree that the best language is JavaScript, which I think it's a universal agreement. We don't need to actually discuss it. We all know it's the truth. And every other language, great in its own way, but not as great as JavaScript. And we'll leave it at that, right? Weekly. Is freelancing hard to do? Yeah, it's extremely hard to do. All right, guys, it has been a pleasure. I'm getting a little tired now. This has been Saturday Weekly on Friday. I usually like to end my live streams with something positive, maybe a little bit of knowledge. Leave it with some final thoughts. And earlier, somebody asked me, somebody asked me what was my favorite childhood moment and what was my favorite or worst childhood moment. And I told you about the Christmas video, and I told you about the tragic wasp event. So let's go ahead and take that question and we'll apply to what was the worst moment of me learning development and what was the best moment. And we'll start with the worst first. So the worst moment really wasn't a moment where anyone did anything for me, to me, or at me. Oftentimes the worst moments in our lives are those that we create ourselves, where we are the ones kicking ourselves while we're down, where we are the ones who are questioning the decisions that we've made. And there was a moment in my life where I dropped out of school, and I was working towards being a developer and continuing on and studying, and just feeling like a loser is the only way I put it. I just just absolutely crushed on the inside and trying to hold it together. And April and I had been going through a breakup at that time, but I was really just feeling like a loser and questioning myself and just really feeling sorry for myself and being very unhappy about where my life was and the decisions that I made and how things have turned out. And this moment was one of the worst moments of my life, and nothing happened. It was just another day where I just wasn't happy, and it wasn't like there was some triggered event, but it was just I remember being in the my little, I'd call it an apartment, but it's not, this little bootleg crack house that I was renting. And just every day for like this one particular week, going home and just crying and being devastated and just feeling awful and being upset with myself. So that was probably the worst moment when I was learning development, just because I felt like such shit. Now the best moment was probably when I got my first developer job. That was the best moment. There's been a lot of good moments, but I think that for me was the best one, which was about 3-4 months after the bad moments. And I kept with it, right? So like I had that rough week. I still studied every day, and maybe not as much and not as good, but I definitely did. And then I just remember getting that first contract. I didn't counter. I didn't want to counter. I just wanted that developer job. I've been working so hard for so long to get that developer job, and I got it. And I had to give my 2 weeks, and that sucked because I liked the people that I worked with, and it's always uncomfortable. But I got my developer role, and I was so happy. Oh my God, I was so happy. It was like I had made it. Oh my God, I grinded. I had my doubts. I fought through my doubts. I grinded, and I got the job. I got my foot in the door, and I was killing myself to get there. And I was so happy. I was so happy. Still very happy. But that was probably the best moments for me of my developer career, partially because it was my first job, but partially because, you know, I set a game plan. I gave myself a year to get a developer job. I got it in 9 months. Around 6 months, I started doubting myself and feeling like a loser. And, you know, um, April kind of put me back together a little bit, and kept on trucking, and it paid off, just sticking with it and grinding it out. And there are ups and downs in life and everything, even something as simple as coding. But so I guess the reason I talked about this is just because I don't want you guys ever to think that it's just you having hard times when you're learning development and you're changing your career and you're making, because these are big choices, right? These are stressful choices where you're leaving careers, you're starting stuff. And it's hard, right? I dropped out of school. I took a technology trainer role. And it wasn't there. A lot was on my plate. Nobody believed in me other than April, and nobody thought it was a good idea besides me. So, it was a little bit of vindication. So, I'm just sharing that because I just want you guys to know that you are going to have rough patches. It's just be prepared and grind through it and all that sort of stuff. So that's the best and worst of the developer stuff. With that being said, I hope that if you're trying to learn to code, you stick with it. You study every day. I got 700 videos on the channel. I'll help you out. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Look forward to our live streams every Saturday, sometimes Friday night if I'm busy on Saturdays. And we'll have another one next week. I think we're about halfway to 30,000. So we're at like 29.5. We do an extra live stream every 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye.